Marketing Gems with Labo Labs.
I think it's just Marketing Gems Live.
Marketing Gems Live
Yeah.
today. So we're live. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you're catching us live, thank you for being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you for being here as well. Today it's Marketing Gems Live with Labo Production. How you doing, Labo? Labo is here with us today.
Mm-hmm.
We
I'm
also live on Clubhouse as well. So if you guys will be joining us on Clubhouse, um, hold on and keep your questions. Just listen to the live, and it will get back to you guys in a few minutes. Go ahead, Labo. How you doing?
doing great. And I just want to say if you are watching live or you watching the replay, go ahead and comment below with your information if you're on Clubhouse so that we can connect with you. Because every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to do Marketing Gems Live. We're going to be addressing questions and we will be going live on Clubhouse as well. So today we have a question that we're going to answer from Yahai. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Yahai from Egypt. And Yahai from Egypt asks, what do you do when your cost per lead is higher than your service or product? What do you do when your cost per lead is higher than your service or your product? Now, I have to admit, whenever Yahai reached out to me, I did not give him a in detailed message back. That's why I'm diverting everyone, directing everyone into the marketing gems. Because when you reach out to me on, like, even on email, I don't have enough time to really go into depth. So the way that I'm trying to make sure that I address questions and mentor properly is through marketing gems and 1 million cups. If you catch me during those times, you're going to get my full attention. But today we're going to go over, what does cost per lead mean? How is it that you can have a higher cost per lead than your actual service? How do you reduce the cost per lead? And we're talking about ads, because a lot of people want Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and also Google ads. And so this is what we're talking about. Um, what's the risk of having too many leads? And then also, what matters most in the end? Mohammed, what are your thoughts or notes on this?
Yeah, I. This is a very valid point and
Mm-hmm.
also a very important issue, especially with small business owners, and I mean most of everybody that don't really know how everything works with the ads. But I would say the most important part of it would be having a little strategy
Yeah.
so that you know and understand the process, and you have a little map of what to do and especially what not to do, so
Yeah.
that you can get your costs down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So because we only have 30 minutes, we're going to jump right into it. So to answer your highest question of what to do when you have a cost per lead that is higher than your service, first of all, what does it mean? What does cost per lead mean? Okay. So whenever you're going to do ads online, especially on Google, there's an ad spend. You're going to spend a certain amount of money to reach a certain amount of people, right? So, just to make this really simple and easy to understand, your cost per lead is a metric that measures how cost effective your campaign is. And why you need that is because it helps you to set goals and track your return on investment. And also, you can set your budget. So, you can set your budget based on this calculation that you do on how much money is actually costing you to acquire leads. And I'm talking about just leads, like people who are just curious, you know, and also sales qualified leads, people who are just time wasters, like just window shoppers and all of that good stuff. So you're paying for all of these people with your ads. And this is why it's so important, like Muhammad said, to have be very strategic about it. And so before you just go spend a lot of money on Google ads and you don't know what you're doing, be sure that you're listening to us right now. So the cost per lead is a formula that you do in order to know how much money you are actually spending per person, right? Per person, and then versus how much your services actually cost, and seeing if it's worth it to you, and all of those different things. So sometimes, in your highest example, I think his cost per lead, he said, was like 500, but his service was 400. Now, the reason why a person will have a high cost per lead is if they have a higher price service. Like if you're a lawyer, your cost per lead is going to be high because you make thousands of dollars every time you acquire a customer. So those people are willing to pay a lot of money on SEO and PPC. It makes sense, right? So it depends on in relation to what your industry is, what your product and service is, right? Um, but to answer his question, well, just to talk about how you end up in that situation is if you actually don't take the time to do your calculations on your cost per lead. Like you're not dividing the number, and then like you're realizing that it's costing you more than what you're actually putting out. So if you're not, basically the answer to answer the question, he's just not doing his due diligence enough beforehand. And now it's kind of a reactive thing of, oh, I'm spending more money. Now I just realized this, the numbers are off. So what do I do? So I like to kind of reframe people's mindset about around marketing. I try to help them to understand, like, what's the core thing, the core important thing, right? Instead of just focusing on logistics, or should I do this, or will this work, or will this technique or this software work, I want you to actually think about what matters most. And so that's the angle that we're going to go on this. So there is a whole bunch of information online about this that it just literally takes 5 minutes to research. So I won't waste your time on that, because the logistics of all of that is online. That's not what's the core issue here. We want to talk about what matters most. So that's what we're going to focus on. Now, how to reduce your cost per lead? I'm going to give you two. There's many different ways, but I'm just going to give you two ways you can reduce your cost per lead. So I'm going to make this simple. Think about Instagram, right? Let's say you were promoting your nail salon on Instagram. If you just put hashtag nails or hashtag nail salon, you know what's going to happen to your post? It's going to get drowned out within the first 30 seconds on Instagram. Why? Because everybody is typing in hashtag nails on their post. Hashtag, all the other nail salons and nail care providers are typing in that same general hashtag. The hashtag is too general. So the same thing with keywords. When people initially go after, when they start out with SEO, they think, okay, I'm a marketer. I'm just going to use the term marketing. You have to niche down your tag. And you, at first, that's going to feel funny. It doesn't make sense, right? If you sell hamburgers, you want to use hamburgers in the keywords. You want to use hamburgers in the hashtag. But that's not niche enough to get to your ideal customer. When you're not niche down enough on your keywords and your hashtags, do you know what ends up happening? You end up attracting a lot of people who are not a good fit for you. Let's go back to hamburgers, right? Let's think about hamburgers. So let's say you are a vegan hamburger shop, right? Hamburger restaurant, vegan hamburger restaurant. And you just type in hamburger. So then you have a lot of people coming up to your pop up saying, okay, I want a hamburger. And then they get your hamburger and they see that, oh, this tastes funny. What is this? It's a vegan hamburger. What? Vegan? I don't want this. Bad review. Their burgers taste funny. It tastes nasty. Well, that's because you are expecting a regular beef hamburger. You weren't expecting a vegan hamburger. There's something unique about your business, right? So if you think about it, if you keep attracting the wrong people with your keywords and your hashtags being too general, you're going to get a lot of people who are not really for you making opinions about your business and wasting your time when they're not actually worth your time. And I'm not trying to devalue customers. This is what I'm trying to say. If I let's say let me be really specific. Um, if I am a model, right, and I do, Mohammed, are you there? Hold on.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
If I'm a model, but I'm an artistic model and I need a makeup artist who can do like dramatic costume makeup, right? And that's what I'm looking for. And you just type in makeup on your key words and your hashtags, and you're a makeup artist, right? That would attract a person like me to you. But maybe I might get on a call with you or sign up for services and then find out you don't do the style of makeup that I like. Now I want to leave a negative review. Now I want to say, oh, they're not as good or whatever. And it's not true. Or you'll end up, if you have a consultation service, you'll end up having a lot of people calling you who think your service is one thing, not realizing it's something else, and it's just a mess. So that's one way to reduce your cost per click. Why pay for attracting the wrong people? You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like inviting people to a wedding, inviting a lot of people to your wedding when only 10% of those are really actually want to see you get married. I'm using a crazy example, but I'm trying to make a point here. There's only a
Hmm.
certain amount, there's a lot of people in the world who will love your products and services. It's okay to niche down in your keywords. Stop paying for all of these leads who are not really your true customer, right? Okay, so that's one way. Also, add relevance, add relevance, add relevance, add relevance. Okay, so in the same mindset of being niche with your keywords and your hashtags, you have to be relevant, right? You have to, whatever you're saying has to make sense. Instagram will punish you if you don't make sense. If you use hashtags that are not relevant to you, they're going to start shadow banning you, right? They're not going to tell you. You're just going to notice one day that you don't get as many likes as you used to, right? Okay, so but why pay for that? Why pay for, and let me just say as a side note, you can spend $10,000 a month on SEO and PPC. If your ad is irrelevant, it's not going to convert. Do you understand that? It's not going to convert. So, good morning, Raina. Hi, thank you for joining. And put in a comment if you have one. Um, so, we don't need to blame the marketer. We don't need to blame the SEO or PPC guy. We need to look at not just throwing money on ads, but actually being very thoughtful on the relevance of our ad. Is it a high converting ad? What are your thoughts on that, Mohammed?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And whether it's with the ads, even with the content itself, and it comes back exactly like you were saying, a little bit to being niche down and make sure that the content that you're putting out, whether it's with the ads, because we're talking about ads, or even your daily content, make sure it's relevant to the audience. Make sure that it's something that they want, and especially if you are in business, it has to be something that solves the problems. That's how it's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally agree with that. And coming back a little other angle is being relevant also means being in the context of the platform. That's why you were talking about Instagram.
Ooh, the context of the platform. Speak on it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what that's why Gary calls you got to be contextual to the platform. Whatever you post on LinkedIn may not be the same that you have to post on Facebook or Instagram. You have to be
Mhm.
careful with the messaging. A lot of people are scared about being shadow banned because of all of the messaging
Yeah.
uh, with Facebook ads and things like that. So that's also something to consider
Let's
as well.
let's use a visual example. So be contextual to the platform. That means that the type of post that you make on Instagram versus Facebook versus LinkedIn versus TikTok is going to be slightly different, right? So the same outfit that I wore on date night is not the outfit that I will wear to the office. It's not the outfit I will wear to church. It's not the outfit that I will wear with my friends. So uh, you have to make sure that the type of ad that you're putting out makes sense on that platform. And that's when you get, really strategic about it. But that's the whole point. I mean, if you're spending money
Yeah.
on ads, at that point you need to be serious. You need to be about numbers and the metrics and like strategy. And so you have to really pay attention to that. So I want to take a different angle, right? We're talking about SEO and PPC and all of that because what we all want more leads, but do we is uh, a lot of leads always the best thing? I have a saying, and I've been saying this for probably like 12 years. The right thing at the wrong time automatically becomes the wrong thing. The right thing at the wrong time automatically becomes the wrong thing. Okay?
Okay.
My son is about to turn 18. If I came into $1 million, I would not buy him a foreign car. It's the wrong time. Based on his driving skills, it's the wrong time for that. Marriage is great, not at the wrong time. So the point is, what phase you have to consider what phase your business is in before you start working with ads. If you start throwing your ads out there, and you're spending money on that because you have some money and you think, oh, SEO, PPC, that's like, and think about this. I'm a marketer. We provide SEO and PPC. The fact that I'm telling you this, but the fact that I'm telling you to slow down, it shows that I could be selling you right now on SEO and PPC, couldn't I? Couldn't I be boosting that and saying, oh, that's great, you need to work with us? No, I'm telling you to slow down, pay attention. Because right now, one of my best clients, she she has the budget to do a huge SEO and PPC. She has a huge ad spend. I'm not touching her money until I make sure that I set her up for success first because I care about her, because I care about her brand, I care about what she's doing. Why would I tell her to start doing ads and let's get a whole bunch of customers that we can't handle right now? Right? So before I go into that, Darlisa asked, shadow ban, a new term for me. Can you speak a little on that one? Um, Mohammed, did you want to speak on what shadow banning means?
Yeah, we also have we also have Cecilia in the clubhouse. I just wanted to reset the room on there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about how to reduce your cost per lead and a few other strategies to boost your social media presence the right way. So if you
Mm-hmm.
guys have more questions, just hold on to that. We'll answer all of your questions in a few minutes. So shadow ban is mostly, to make it very simple, it's like just being forbidden to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So based on some of your activities, based on some actions that you may do that may not be in line with the community guidelines, or let's say you do something that is not in line with Facebook rules, You post a lot of times on Facebook ads. It can be that you wrote your ad in a way that is not really aligned with Facebook rules. So for that reason, Facebook will just stop you from running ads. So now you got to contact Facebook. It can become a whole little hustle to get in touch with them. So that's pretty much what it is. It's just because you did a little something that is not aligned with the rules of Facebook or Instagram, they will just stop you or just reduce some of the actions on your account.
Mm-hmm. Um, think about this, Darlisa. Shadow banning on Instagram is kind of like being on parole. You know how if you're on parole, you do any little thing, you going back to jail. Okay, it is so easy on Instagram to get shadow banned. You use too many hashtags, shadow ban. If your hashtags aren't relevant, shadow ban. If you're posting a lot, shadow ban. If you are if you're DMing someone, DMing people to get them interested in your whatever, because what they want to do is they feel like they're protecting Instagram users when they shadow ban people, not realizing that not everything is spamming, right? You're not trying to spam everybody. So definitely look into some of the things to avoid on Instagram before you get shadow banned. So back
Right.
uh hold on. Raina has something. She said, I finally got back on LinkedIn about don't know what kind of stuff do I post. Okay. So business only, correct. So on business, I'm sorry, on LinkedIn, I can tell you what they really respond to on LinkedIn. They respond to accomplishments, like big accomplishments, um, and anything that has to do with providing information or resources for business related, like career related stuff. But you really need to engage on LinkedIn and connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn to really see a response. It's kind of hard to build up a tribe on LinkedIn in a lot of, it's just harder. But we can talk about that. That's a good topic, Mohammed, for another day, is to talk about success on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we can talk
So,
about LinkedIn, but I also wanted to add a little something on here because I think that's important, and that actually goes as well to any platform that you'll be using, especially if you're a business owner. Stories on LinkedIn, if you can write stories, success stories,
mm,
life stories, success accomplishment, failure stories,
yeah,
whatever you had to overcome stories, all of that, even if it's just a picture of yourself, and then you just
mhm,
write the story in the caption. Hey, when I was 18 years old, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. I thought I wouldn't make it. This has happened. I met my mentor. My life changed, blah, 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 blah. It can just be that simple,
yeah,
really
it,
that simple. But
yeah.
stories, stories, stories. If you can make videos, that's even perfect. 1 minute videos of stories, that's awesome content on any social media.
Right. Yeah. Show like come up stories, like, that type of stuff that helps. Um, okay, so here's the risk of having too many leads. Okay, so when you have too many leads, what ends up happening is, and I've experienced this, is you end up losing track of the people who reached out to you early on. It's kind of like when you're just like chasing leads, what ends up happening is that you focus on the people who are most responsive, and the people who are, let's say, busy, not saying that they aren't good prospects, but they're just a little bit busy and they don't reach out as much. Those people fall to the wayside. How does that happen? Because you don't have enough people to follow up on your team. You don't have enough people to respond. You don't have enough automation set up and processes and systems. Hold on one second.
I also just wanted to reset the room real quick on Clubhouse. We have MA watching. So I've also been pinging people into the room. We're talking about how to reduce your cost of leads and a
Mhm.
few different content strategies. So if you have questions, hold on to your questions and we'll get to you in a minute. Please
That,
go ahead, Labo.
that's right. So, as I said, you don't want to end up having people think you're a flake. You don't want to end up having people think that you're not serious or you're not a legitimate business because you don't have all your systems and processes and teams and pipeline ready to deal with the influx of customers and leads that you have, right? And people are getting frustrated, and then now you have bad reviews, and people have your reputation is suffering, all because you didn't prepare for the amount of guests. It's kind of just like if you had a party set up, you set up a party, and then more people show up than you expected. There's not enough food, there's not enough drinks. Now people are complaining, it's too crowded, it's too loud, and it's like a negative experience, right? And then now next time when you want to have a new party, people are like, nah, I remember that party last year. It was too loud, there wasn't enough food, there wasn't. And that's what's going to happen to you online if you don't have your stuff together first. So having a lot of customers is not always the best thing if it's at the wrong time. Um, so it's too much.
Right.
Yeah, it's more, if it's more work than you can handle, hold off on the ads. Make sure you have all your systems and processes and team together before you start running ads. Because guess
Yeah.
what? What if you do land that big client? What if you do have uh, that influx? What are you gonna do then when all those people pop up?
Yeah,
So
can I jump on that real quick? Just 1 minute because this is very, very important. I've learned from a guy, his name is Brendan Dawson. He's one of my mentors, and he always says, make sure that you can scale yourself before you want to scale. And
wow,
that's kind of an angle of what she's saying because everybody wants to scale. Oh, how do I scale? Oh, I was mute on Clubhouse. How do I scale? How do I scale? How do I scale? But can you actually scale yourself? Can you actually get the customers through the whole journey from cold all the way to becoming your customer? Retain him, nurture him, solve all of his problems. That's a little details of what Labo is saying with the systems, but that's the biggest part. Until you have that base set up, it's just like a house. If you don't have the base set up right, your house is going to shake. When it's going to rain, your house will be destroyed. So you really need to have these systems set up before you start thinking about running ads.
think about this. Imagine um, you have different packages, right? And you have different customers at different levels. And let's say you have your whole team, your team, y'all working on these different people. But let's say that ideal client walks through the door. Finally, that ideal client walks through the door. Now you don't have enough people, enough resources, enough everything to help that ideal client you've been waiting on because you have a whole bunch of other little clients. And now that marketing finally starts hitting. Now all those ideal clients start coming through the door. What are you going to do? I'm telling you, it's not a good position to be in. So, all right. So, finally, we're going to close this out by talking about what matters most. What matters most in all of this online ad stuff? These are the three things that matter the most to me. Number one, the number of qualified leads. That's on the marketing. That's on the marketing. Okay. I'm always playing like the advocate of the marketer because I don't like marketers getting blamed for stuff that they didn't do wrong. But that part is on the marketers, the qualified leads you get. The second thing that's most important to me is the number of opportunities. So the number of people that follow up. Now that's on your admin support. That's on them. After the marketers attract the right people and they're qualified and they hand those people off to your sales team, it's up to your pipeline. It's up to that assistant. It's up to that, intern or whoever you have in place that follows up. If they're not following up, that's not the marketer's fault, right? And then the third thing that's most important to me is the number of closes. That's on the sales team. Or if you're the salesperson, that's on you. So The one part the marketer is responsible for is bringing those people in. That's all they're responsible for. They're not responsible for what happens to those clients after they get to you and your team. You get that? We're just supposed to bring the people in, and if they are not converting, that's not our fault. So if your ratio of um, marketing qualified leads and closes and conversions is off, it is not because of the marketer. Do you get what I mean? What I'm saying is the marketer has the responsibility at one point. So you cannot say, oh, the SEO and PPC campaign isn't working because the people aren't converting. That's not the SEO and PPC's fault, right? That's like that's like saying, if I have a girl standing outside of my salon handing out flyers, and she hands out flyers, and a whole bunch of people walk through the door, but out of all those people, only like 10% of them actually get their hair done. Is it the girl's fault, or is it once they walk through the door and then they look around in the salon, they say, never mind, and walk out? If people are saying never mind after they walk into the doors of your business, virtual doors of your business, that's a bottleneck. That's a gap. That is time for an analysis of your efficiency in your processes. So Taran is saying proper preparation for a powerful presentation. I love that. Proper preparation for a powerful presentation. First impressions only happen once. Yes, very, very true. And we appreciate your comment. Thank you, Stephen, also for listening and for the compliment. Mohammed, what are your closing statements?
Yeah, I do agree with that last part, and we also have Rush La Russia that just joined us in the clubhouse. If you guys have questions, we'll get back to you guys in a second. But we're talking about reducing your cost per lead and a few content strategies for your social media. So I would say the biggest part about before running ads, I like to think about branding before advertising, branding and systems before advertising.
Yes.
So before you want before you get excited about scaling, before you get excited, because I get it, you love your business, I get it, man, I'm with you 1000%. But before you really want to scale to that point, just like a house, make sure you have all of your systems in place. Make sure you
Mhm.
have your customers' journeys in place. Make sure you have a follow-up sequence in place. Make
Mhm.
sure you have salespeople that can close, because just like Labo was saying, I know agencies that will not work with you if you don't have closers. It's not going to happen. They have like 100 question assessments, and then inside of there is a part where you have to grade your salespeople from 1 to 10. Anything under 5, they will not work with you, because they'll bring you the leads 1000%. But
Yes.
can you close the leads? Coming back to scale yourself first before scaling others. Can you close the deal yourself? That's the first thing. If you don't know how to sell, that's fine. But if you don't know how to sell and don't really want to learn, make sure you have sales people that can close deals for you before you start bringing all of these leads, because it's going to
Mhm.
be a waste, right? So coming back to the point, I see Labo getting excited.
No,
I know
I'm
you
just
talk
saying
a
because
little bit.
I'm thinking of Spectrum. Spectrum, they will turn you down. They won't even take your money. If you
Right,
don't have what Muhammad said, if you don't have closers on your team, if they don't feel like you can handle all the people that are about to walk through your door because of that commercial, they will not play your commercial. And
right,
you
right.
can be the only person closing on your team. You as the CEO, do you really have time to close every person that you need to close every month to pay your bills? I don't. It depends, but I don't know if you have time for that, right? That was powerful, Muhammad. That's so true. And Stephen said, don't get caught up on analytics. It's more about what you have not told them about your business. It's more about what you have not told them. I love that. That's a good point, Stephen. But we've gone over time, which is great. Next week, we're going to talk about what's the difference between PR and digital marketing. That's outbound marketing versus inbound. And we will have a PR specialist come on and talk to us about the difference, because there are huge differences between PR people. I'm not a PR person, I only do digital marketing. So you need to talk to a publicist, and I'm sure they're going to be dropping gems on some information you need to know in order to have, your media communications getting started. So awesome. So we will see you next time on at 11 CST Wednesday. Follow us and let's get connected on Clubhouse. Thank you, Muhammad. Awesome as usual.
Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.